On the news at 7, Ondo's appropriation bill targets growth as Assembly begins rigorous scrutiny. Senate proposes recruitment of 100,000 soldiers to tackle insurgency. PDP crisis deepens as leadership tussle triggers violence. And from the foreign scene, outrage trails Israeli plan to relocate Palestinians from Gaza. Good evening and a warm welcome to the news. Kunle Ariyo is my name. Ondo State Government 2026 appropriation bill will prioritize economic consolidation through targeted investment in food security, human capital development, infrastructure expansion, revenue reform, social protection, and prudent fiscal management, presenting a 492.8 billion naira budget proposal to the Ondo State House of Assembly. Governor Loke Ayedatiwa stated that the budget aims to deepen reforms, stabilize the progress achieved in 2025, and sustain socio-economic growth across key sectors. The governor also acknowledged the need to revise the 2025 budget downward from 698.659 billion naira to 498.998 billion naira due to lower than expected donor funds and revenue inflows. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole now reports.
The Ondo State House of Assembly's chamber welcomed top government officials, including Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, political allies, and legislators for the presentation of the 2026 appropriation bill. Speaker Olamide Olajiji set the tone as the House convened for a special plenary session.
That the governor of Ondo State, His Excellency Dr. Lucky Ayedatiwa, do present this year, the year 2026 budget speech to the Honorable Assembly. Those who will say aye? Aye. Those who will say nay? I have it.
Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa announced that the government has been forced to reduce the 2025 budget from 698.659 billion naira to 489.998 billion due to the non-availability of expected donor funds and other revenue sources. He said current data indicates that only half of the anticipated financial inflows will be realized, creating a risk to the water sector performance as well as jobs and economic benefits previously forecasted. The governor said that the budget revision was essential to remove overly optimistic projections and ensure a more equitable allocation of state resources. Despite these fiscal challenges, Governor Ayedatiwa highlighted the progress made over the past year thanks to careful and efficient management of the funds available.
A total of 2,100 teachers were employed for primary and secondary school across the state to enhance learning outcomes. The government eased financial pressure on families by paying 633.9 million naira for West African Examination Council fees for 23,048 students, and we fully funded NAPTEP registration for all eligible public school candidates. Scholarship and bursary support of 350 million naira was provided to 11,358 tertiary institution students. A total of 134 primary schools were built and renovated alongside provision of furniture and learning materials at a cost of 6.738 billion. Another 60 secondary schools were rehabilitated with 3.108 billion naira through a strategic partnership with the Caribbean Maritime University of Jamaica. OSrc is establishing a School of Maritime Studies and Logistics This new school will be located in Bokoda to enhance maritime education and industry growth. Key road dualization projects, including the Okiaro-Idore Road, Akumbai-Ikare Road, and the 27.5-kilometer Bokoda Road, have recorded substantial advancement. The school shuttle scheme, suspended since 2020, was restored in 2025 to support student transportation across the state.
While presenting the 2026 budget framework, Governor Aiyedatiwa explained that the proposal is largely based on the macroeconomic assumptions outlined in the National Governors Forum endorsed medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. He outlined 8 key policy priorities for the 2026 fiscal year, which include food security, human capital development, infrastructure expansion, internally generated revenue reform, community development, social protection, economic diversification, and prudent fiscal management. The proposed budget features a recurrent to capital expenditure ratio of 42.78% to 57.22%, signaling a commitment to completing ongoing infrastructure projects and preventing abandoned works throughout the state.
Resilient and inclusive community development is one of our policy calls for this year, and this will be pursued by strengthening grassroots governance and community-led development. We will improve access to basic services and build resilience against climate risks. We will enhance security of lives and property through community policing and collaboration between our own homegrown security agents and settlement and conventional security bodies.
Governor Aiyedatiwa commended the lawmakers for their contributions to governance and extended his appreciation to residents of the state, including security agencies, traditional rulers, religious leaders, youths, unions, professionals, development partners, NGOs, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders for their continued support for his administration. He called on the Assembly to give the 2026 appropriation bill that same thorough consideration as past budgets, emphasizing his administration's dedication to diligent and timely execution for the welfare of the people. From the State House of Assembly in Akure, Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
In the meantime, the Ondo State House of Assembly has committed the 2026 appropriation bill to the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation for detailed scrutiny before further legislative action. The fiscal appropriation christened budget of economic consolidation, totaling over 492 billion naira, seeks authorization for expenditure from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the state. House of Assembly correspondent Omoshiliola Adesoyajayi has details.
The budget proposal, total of 492.795 billion naira, has 210.8 billion naira proposed for recurrent expenditure, while 281.99 billion naira is allocated to capital projects for the 2026 fiscal year. The budget, tagged Budget of Economic Consolidation, reflects the present administration's commitment to sustaining growth, strengthening institutions, and completing ongoing projects across the states. Speaking after receiving the budget, the Speaker, Olamide Oladiji, commended the Governor for the timely submission of the 2026 appropriation bill, noting that the early presentation would allow the House ample time for comprehensive evaluation.
I extend my heartfelt appreciation to His Excellency Governor Aiyedatiwa for presenting this 2026 budget proposal in a timely manner and allow this honorable House to conduct a thorough scrutiny of the financial documents. Your leadership size has been exemplary, and we appreciate your unwavering support to this assembly since your adoption of office.
While highlighting the governor's commitment to peace, stability, and progress, which he said has fostered a conducive environment for smooth collaboration between the executive and the legislature. Oladiji also lauded the government for approving the Consolidated Legislative Salary Scheme Fund for the first time in 2026, saying the initiative will significantly boost the productivity and dedication of assembly staff.
I particularly want to thank the government for the recent approval of the consolidated legislative salary structure points for the staff. This gesture demonstrates your commitment to the welfare of the bureaucracy and the political class. We are grateful.
Other lawmakers who spoke praised the governor's leadership style, describing it as exemplary, and acknowledged the administration's consistent support for the legislature. They reiterated the readiness of the Assembly to work closely with the governor and his team towards advancing the development of Ondo State.
We are pushing the end of the year. Thank God Almighty, life of our leader, the governor of Ondo State, Dr. Lucky our leader, your leader, the leader of all of us in Ondo State. I thank you for what you are doing, the steadfastness, the infrastructural strides you've made in Ondo State. And I used to say, at the end of your first 4 years, Ondo State will be known as a bastion of infrastructural strength in the whole of the country. Thank you, Your Excellency.
After a voice vote, the House then committed the budget to the Committee on Finance and Appropriation for further legislative action.
Those who give us the aye, those who give us the aye have it.
Omoshiliola Adesoye Ajayi, Osrc News.
We'll now take a break now. When we'll come back, we'll give you more stories. Please, do stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV and on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. Regular medical checkups are vital for early detection of illnesses and for maintaining good health. Yet many families find it difficult to access affordable health care. This is why the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, in partnership with First Lady's Renewed Hope Initiative, has decided to support communities through health care. Ademo Mitaiwo report.
A week-long free medical outreach ongoing at the State Specialist Hospital in Akure is providing vital services. The intervention by the NDDC in partnership with First Lady's Renewed Hope Initiative offers a wide range of services, including general and specialized surgeries, eye treatment, dental care, diagnosis and medications, and has continued to record every turnout since it began. Deputy Director in the Ondo State Office of the Commission, Mr. Kunle Karaki, said the crowd reflects the level of unmet health needs within the community, noting that many families rely on outreach programs like these as their only opportunity to access specialized medical attention.
This is an important event that doesn't come all of a sudden. It comes once in a blue moon. And once it comes like this, you get hold of the opportunity. And we cannot but appreciate our president again. He has been so wonderful, has been so impactful, including our MD, and that is what we are doing in the Niger Delta region.
He added that patients have already received treatment in ophthalmology, dentistry, and surgical units, highlighting the scale of demand.
I've seen a lot of changes that are affecting life. What the logo of NDDC determined to make the difference. We are no longer determined to make the difference. We are already making the difference. We are making it across, educationally, socially, infrastructurally, everything we are doing it. And that is what the purpose. And we are here in Akure today now. And it's going to run for a week, affecting life. You can see the crowd. And many people have been attended to surgery, eyes, dentists, all over. And that is what we are made for.
Director of Clinical Services at the Ondo State Hospital Management Board, Dr. Lanre Iwaola, described the initiative as timely, emphasizing that free medical outreaches remain crucial in reducing the burden on public hospitals, preventing avoidable complications, and bringing healthcare closer to underserved populations.
NDDC is known for high-impact projects. And they are known for doing good things that impact people directly. In Ondo State here, we have had opportunity to benefit from projects from NDDC. It is not only in the health sector.
Some beneficiaries also expressed relief, saying the outreach has eased their financial burden at a time when the cost of healthcare continues to rise.
I really appreciate what they have attended to us from where we collected cards and where we took our fees. So on getting to the doctor, they accommodated very well. I thank God for this program. It was fantastic. I've been thinking of even going to the hospital to check, to do the eye check. But when I heard about this, I thank God I came here and they attend to us very well.
By delivering timely medical services to those who need them most, the NDDC-supported outreach underscores the importance of community-based health interventions in strengthening public health and improving overall well-being. Adewumi Taiwo, Osrc News.
Violence has erupted at the People's Democratic Party National Secretariat in Wadata Plaza, Abuja, prompting police to fire tear gas to disperse supporters amid a leadership dispute between rival factions of the party. According to report, chaos began when Governor Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State, Governor Bala Muhammad of Boshi State, and the faction led by the newly elected PDP National Chairman Kabiru Turaki arrived at party headquarters. The arrival triggered confrontations with police and supporters aligned with Samuel Anyanwu's faction, who attempted to block their entry. Security operative loyal to the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyosom Wike and the two governors engaged in a standoff over control of the PDP National Secretariat, while Makinde entered the venue alongside the newly elected National Secretary Taufik Arapaja. Nyosom Wike remained with Samuel Anyanwu, the embattled National Secretary of the party. Makinde and Mohammed later briefed journalists on the tense situation, recounting the tear gas deployed by police and the resistance they encountered by supporters of the Samuel Anyanwu faction. Meanwhile, a faction of the National Executive Committee, NEC of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has ratified the expulsion of the governors of Oyo, Oshi, and Zamfara State. Former Board of Trustee Chairman, Senator Adolphus Wabara, Senator Kabiru Turaki, Deputy National Chairman South, Taufik Arapaja, and others for anti-party activities. The NEC also ratified the dissolution of State Executive Council of Boshi, Oyo, Zamfara, Yobe, Lagos, Edo, and Ekiti states. These decisions were taken at the 103 NEC meeting of the party held in the party National Secretariat in Abuja today. Acting National Chairman of the PDP, Mohammed Abdul Rahman, who presented the memo for the explosion, said it was as a result of the affected party members' disregard for court judgment and An action, he said, put the party in disrepute. In the meantime, the factional national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Kabiru Turaki, has formally assumed office as the party's national secretariat, Wadata Plaza, Abuja. Turaki, who arrived in the company of Governor Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State and Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, thanked the PDP leaders for what he described as their resilience and courage in resisting attempts to destabilize the party. Turaki said his camp had now taken full control of the secretariat. This followed a chaotic morning at Wadata Plaza as both factions, Turakis and Wikis, arrived for separate NEC and BOT meetings, resulting in a showdown that required heavy security intervention. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, HASU, has warned that it will resume its nationwide strike if an agreement is not reached with the federal government at the expiration of its one-month ultimatum. HASU Kano Zonal Coordinator Abdul Kadri Mohammed gave the word in Kano during a news conference after the zone's meeting. The lecturers in October suspended their warning strike with a month-long ultimatum to the federal government to meet their demands, which centered around their welfare and provision of conducive teaching and learning environment. Mohammed described what he described as a sluggish approach to renegotiating key agreements aimed at revitalizing Nigeria's public university system. He said that the government had yet to show genuine commitment to improving lecturers' welfare and addressing the conditions that fuel brain drain in the university system. He urged the federal government to place a moratorium on the establishment of state universities as it did for federal universities. 44 serving federal lawmakers from both northern and southern regions of Nigeria have written a two-page letter and resolution to President Bola Tinubu in the growing call for Nnamdi Kanu's release. In the letter, the lawmakers urged the president to invoke his constitutional powers to release Kanu from detention and to convene an all-inclusive political roundtable involving all stakeholders to address the country's challenges and find a lasting solution through a political process. The lawmaker urged under the aegis of concerned federal lawmakers, further called on President Tinubu to direct the Attorney General of the Federation as soon as practicable to exercise his constitutional authority to discontinue the prosecution of Nnamdi Kanu. The lawmakers emphasized that discontinuing the prosecution and initiating a constructive dialogue is necessary to address the matter through a political window and achieve a lasting solution. Also, the Senate has asked President Bola Tinubu to direct the Nigerian Armed Forces to immediately recruit at least 100,000 additional personnel to strengthen the fight against worsening insecurity across the country. The resolution followed a motion of urgent national importance raised by Kebbi North Senator Abdullahi Yahaya, who reported a recent attack by terrorists on communities in Kebbi's South Central District, who invaded a girls' secondary school, abducting 25 students and severely injuring the school's principal. Describing the incident as a slap on the face of the nation, Yahaya lamented that repeated attacks on schools not only endanger citizens but deter girls from seeking education. He appealed to President Tinubu to leave no stone unturned in bringing the attackers to justice. And straight to the foreign scene now, the UN's World Food Program has warned that funding cuts mean it will struggle to feed even a third of the 318 million people facing severe hunger in 2026. The agency, in a statement, said declines in global humanitarian funding are forcing it to prioritize food assistance to roughly one-third of those in need, targeting 110 million of the most vulnerable The World Food Programme's largest donor is the United States, which under President Donald Trump has cut foreign aid, including UN agencies. Other big donors, including some European nations, have also shrunk their humanitarian budgets. Report has uncovered new details linking a suspicious group to an Israeli plan to transfer Palestinians out of Gaza. The unmarked European group is at the center of the controversy involving dozens of Palestinians from Gaza who landed at an airport in South Africa on Thursday. The group worked with the Israeli government unit tasked with transferring people out of Gaza, calling it voluntary migration. Blessing Obe has details.
A new evidence has been unearthed. It connects the group organizing the transfer of Palestinians out of Gaza, a measured group, to an Israeli-Estonian man, Tolan, who has ties to the Israeli government. The original version of the group's website have an alarming document that has since been deleted, a waiver to be signed by applicants from Gaza entitled Conditions and Approval for Voluntary Migration. Under this document, people release all liabilities. From Talent Globus, an organization founded a year ago by Tom Mellin, Palestinians would have no support, no protection or right to legal action. Toland says he would issue a statement when he's ready. He later deleted his message on Thomas' LinkedIn page, where he goes by the name Tom. There are hints about his role in transferring people out of Gaza to other countries. Here, he's commenting on a post saying he indeed is involved in what he calls evacuating people out of Gaza. The Al-Marj group's registration can be verified.
But the Prime Minister has made it.
Israeli Prime Minister's office says Palestinians who want to leave Gaza will be allowed to exist and allowed to re-enter the Strip if they decide to return. But some travelers who boarded flights chartered by Al-Marj group left Gaza without exit stamps on their passports. This could allow Israel to permanently bar them from ever returning. Palestinians who survived Israel's 2-year genocide are still struggling to find basic supplies denied to them by the Israeli government. They receive ministerial aid. Their future at best is uncertain. Gaza remains under a tight siege. Those who want to leave the Strip cannot do so without Israeli permit or approval. Tens of thousands sick, injured, desperate are still waiting for the Rafah border to reopen as provided under the 20-point ceasefire agreement brokered by US President Donald Trump. Instead, it's suspicious groups like Ahmed which are being facilitated to transfer desperate Palestinians through unofficial channels. The revelations clearly suggest the operation is part of Israel's policy of forced displacement. The document may call it voluntary migration, but there is nothing about this journey that is voluntary. Blessing Obe, Osrc News.
Without foreign news, we have come to the end of the bulletin, but before we go, let's take another look at the main point. We told you that Ondo State Governor Luka Yedato was presented a 492.8 billion naira appropriation bill for 2026 to the State House of Assembly, focusing on economic consolidation and capital project. We also informed you that the violence has erupted at the People's Democratic Party PDP National Secretariat in Abuja as rival factions clashed over control. We also told you that the Senate has passed a resolution urging President Bola Tinubu to immediately direct the recruitment of at least 100,000 additional military personnel following a recent terrorist attack in Kebbi State that led to the abduction of 25 secondary school students. Also from a foreign scene, we told you that the report have revealed details connecting the Al-Marj European group to an Israeli plan facilitating the transfer of Palestinians out of Gaza, which the government unit terms voluntary migration. And that's it on the news tonight. We thank you for being a part of it. Good evening.